Jai Gurudev. Jai Masters. Real deep spirituality rarely turns out to be what you think it is or what you thought it was. It can just cut through everything if you pay attention just once. Imagine you were sitting in the most idyllic, beautiful place you'd ever been. Be it the seashore, be it a mountaintop, anywhere. Just imagine all around you is just tremendous beauty everywhere you look. Intoxicatingly beautiful. But you have a sore on your little toe and it's bothering you. And it's bothering you enough to where it attracts all your attention. That's all. It's very simple. Not a very complicated analogy here. It just attracts all your attention. I mean all your attention. It bothers you. So you're looking at it, you're picking at it, you're complaining about it. Basically, your attention is focused on your little toe. Then guess what? You're not on the mountaintop. You're not in the beautiful meadow. You're not at the ocean side. You're at the toe. You're not experiencing the rest. You listen to me. I could send you home right now, and you have learned the most you will ever learn about spirituality. You are where your consciousness is. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters where you are, where your consciousness is. You could be people who love you. I'm going to gather all the people who love you more than anything in the whole world, that you love more than anything, whether they're dead or alive. Or, oh my God, I'm going to make the most special thing in the whole world. I'm going to make your toe hurt enough to where all you're paying attention to is your toe. So basically, if you have a problem that is drawing your attention, I like to use the word distracting you. It turns out that distraction is an extremely spiritual word. If you don't know about distraction, you will never know about spirituality, because you are being distracted by the pain in your toe. What's being distracted? Your consciousness, your awareness of being, your soul. Call it whatever you want. You in there, hi, okay? Your awareness of being. That's a very precious thing, your awareness of being. That's you. Your awareness of being is addicted, attracted, distracted, call it whatever you want, by this toe. Therefore, you have toe consciousness. That's where you are. To understand enlightenment, to understand God realization, to understand self-realization, to understand all of that mystical stuff, all right? Now stop being distracted by your toe. Just all of a sudden it got healed. Now what? Well, there's nothing pulling your attention down to the toe. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to do anything. Your consciousness is freed from being distracted at the toe. Why? Because it's no longer being distracted by the toe. It's very natural. Where will it go? To the beauty of the mountainside, to the expanse of the meadows, to the beauty of the ocean front. Why not? That's what's there, all right? It will expand from toe consciousness to environmental expansive consciousness. That is Satori, they call it in Zen. You had a Satori. You used to just be in this little spot. Now you're in a much bigger spot. It's not mystical. It's not weird. It's not difficult. There's nothing weird about it, right? What's weird is that you are so addicted to your toe consciousness that you don't know you are distracted by your toe consciousness. In fact, when something distracts you from your toe, you call that a distraction. Leave me alone, my toe hurts. Stop talking to me, all right? So you're just so fixated and committed to your distraction by this tiny little thing called your toe that you miss everything else. You can't get married, you can't have children, you can't have a life, you can't have anything. All you can have is the pain in your toe. Fair enough? Why is that so spiritual? Because that is exactly what is happening. I have to laugh when somebody says, I want to find God. That is like sitting there in the most beautiful meadow that ever was, distracted by your toe, crying, I wish I could be in a meadow. I wish I could see what a meadow looked like. I heard they're really beautiful. How will I ever see a meadow? You won't, because you're looking at your toe. The minute you stop being distracted by your toe, there's meadow. Well, I guess that's what's there. The minute you stop being distracted by yourself, there's God. Why? Because that's what's there. But what you are, where your consciousness exists, you don't realize it, just like the person who's toe conscious doesn't realize it. You are distracted by your thoughts. You are distracted by your emotions, and you are distracted by the limitation of what is coming in through your senses. That's all. That's the same as being distracted by your toe. That's a very small thing. So I'm not trying to insult you or anything, but your thoughts are very small. Right? But we're going to argue about that. Don't you talk about my thoughts that way. See how distracted you are about your thoughts? That's like arguing about who's got more pain in their toe, right? Your thoughts are small. There's a whole universe. How much of the universe do your thoughts take up? It's like it's so little, it's so tiny. And the same thing with your feelings. I know you really think your feelings are very, very important. You want to talk to people about them. If somebody hurts them, they'll never talk to them for the rest of your life. You are serious about your feelings. What percentage of the universe are your feelings at any given moment? And I don't just mean, Gainesville, right? Or Florida, or the United States, or the planet Earth. The universe. What percentage of the universe are your little feelings? There's not a number small enough, is there? But you are completely distracted by your feelings. You are completely distracted by your thoughts. And at any given moment, what percentage of the created universe is coming in through your senses? Nothing. Nothing. That is the same as being distracted by your toe. You're sitting in the middle of the whole thing, the beautiful scenery, and all you're paying attention to is this tiny little thing called your toe. You're sitting here in the middle of the universe. Your consciousness is not limited to that toe. It seems like it is because your consciousness is committed to the toe. But it is not limited to the toe. It's capable of seeing the whole scene, isn't it? You know that. But not if you're distracted by the toe. You are capable of experiencing beyond your comprehension. But you can't. Why? You don't want to. You only want to see your thoughts, you only want to feel your emotions, and you only want to pay attention to what's coming in through your senses to make sure that it's what you want, to make sure that nobody's doing something you don't like, to make sure that everything's the way you want. So there's this tremendous commitment. Oh my God, it's unbelievable how much commitment there is to those three things, those three minuscule parts of the universe. Your thoughts, your feelings, and what is coming in through your senses. And by the time your consciousness, your awareness of being becomes 100%, not even 99.9, 100% for most people, for their entire life, 100% of their awareness of being is fixated on those things. Their thoughts, their feelings, and what is coming in at the moment through their senses. It's either what's coming in through the moment with their senses, it's got all my attention, I'm missing the rest of the universe, but at least I see what I see. Or I have these thoughts about what happened before. Those are called thoughts. Those are what are happening in your mind. Those are your thoughts. Or there's these feelings. All that collection, or my thoughts about the future. So I'm telling you, it's either your thoughts, your feelings, or what is coming in through your senses. You are so committed to that I rarely use the number 100%, but it is 100%. And I don't mean 100% now. 100% for your entire life. That is all you will experience. That is like sitting in that valley or on that mountaintop or next to that ocean, and all you will experience is your toe. You will never know you don't even know there is an ocean. You don't even know that there's a whole expanse of meadow. You've never seen it. You only know toe because you're 100% distracted. Wow, that's scary, isn't it? How true is that? Completely. You don't even know what would happen. Listen to me, I'm not insulting you. I'm inspiring you. You don't even know what would happen if you stopped paying attention to your toe. Some people know because they stopped paying attention to their toe. What happened? Wow! They got to see the rest. There's a whole rest. They said, oh my God, there's so much more. Because your consciousness isn't fixated. The moment you are not distracted by your thoughts, your emotions, and what is coming in through your senses, you're going to find out the same as that analogy, except 1 billion times bigger. There is a whole universe. You are only paying attention to a tiny part. The minute you stop paying attention to that part, you get to see the rest. You have to try. You have to meditate. You have to do anything weird. You have to learn to stop being distracted by yourself because you are tiny, all right, in the relation to things. And as long as you're distracted by yourself, you will not see other than self. Which is bigger, yourself or other than yourself? Oh, I like you. You get it. Okay? You want to know what God is? Not me. We sing all these names, like there's names for God. There's all kinds of names for God. Oh, there's thousands and millions of names for God. Right? You know what the closest name to God is? Not me. Because until it's not me, it's going to be me. As simple as that. And me is so tiny that you might as well call it nothing. It's nothing. So all of spirituality is about ceasing to be distracted by you. If you meditate, I'm telling you, it is practicing ceasing to be distracted by you. That's all meditation is. If you do mantra, it is attempting to, if you're so fixated on one toe, your whole life you're fixated on that toe, at least get fixated on the other toe. Just moving it from one toe to the other, you're almost there. You realize there's more than just fixation on one toe. So if you do mantra, right, just repeating a word over and over again in your head, all of a sudden you get to pay attention, get distracted by or pay attention to that instead of the rest of your thoughts. It's just an alternate place to put your awareness of being. So it doesn't sound like much, but it is, because it's different than the one you're addicted. It's sort of a little bit like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble for this talk. Mantra's a little bit like you stop smoking by eating cookies. Substitute your habit of you with the habit of God's name or this mantra. That's fine. It's a step in between. But I just want you to see all of the practices. Everything is about learning to cease to be distracted by your thoughts, your emotions, and what is coming in through your senses. It's not renunciation. There's nothing wrong with your toe. Understand that's okay to pay attention to your toe, the same as you pay attention to everything else. You have to cut your toe off. It's like, that's not what we're dealing with. It's not about there's something wrong with what's coming in through your senses and you get rid of it. That would require you to be committed to get rid of what's coming in through your senses. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in you ceasing to be distracted by what's coming in through your senses. That is very, very different than you saying it's terrible, it's evil, it's wrong, I have to renounce it, I have nothing to do with it, oh my God. No, you got so distracted by it that you decided to hate it. You got so distracted by it, you decided to love it. They're exactly the same. You're still distracted by it. I need you to reach a state where you cease to get distracted by you. The moment you cease to get distracted by you, you will cease to get distracted by you. So the thoughts will say something, but it won't matter. They won't distract you. Then they might as well not be there. Things that don't distract you, they just pass right by, like white lines or trees when you're driving by. They don't do anything. They don't cause any trouble. You don't have to get rid of them. You have to get rid of them. The only time you have to get rid of the white lines is when you're so fixated by it that you can't drive past them. You stop, oh my God, who painted that one? It's not perfectly square, and you can't drive your car anywhere. Well, we better do something about you and that white line, right? Because it just became your whole life, because you became distracted by it. If you're not distracted by it, it's free to be what it is. Some are painted nice, some are a little bit weird, and it just comes and goes. It doesn't affect you. That's how you need to get about your thoughts. This is not difficult, right? Like in the Bible, the disciples said, what he asks of us is not much. So, I mean, what you're being told is you can know God. I'm telling you, you can know God. You can know way beyond the life that you are used to, but not while you're so fixated on yourself. How can you know anything other than yourself? So how does one reach a state where they are naturally, not through force, but are naturally no longer distracted by their own thoughts, their own feelings, and what is coming in through their senses? That is the spiritual pursuit. There, we've defined it well, haven't we? Because the moment, I hope you see that, the moment you do that, by definition, you will not be bound and limited to your thoughts, your emotions, and your scenery. The minute you're not bound by it, the consciousness will naturally not be bound by it. I'm telling you, it's as easy as I'm no longer looking at my toe. How hard is it when you're not being distracted by your toe to see everything else? It's not hard at all, is it? It's free of charge. Your consciousness just naturally expands to fill the space where it can go. If it's distracted by something, it can't go there. It focuses on that. So you see, I'm using the word distraction over and over again. You didn't know that was a spiritual word, did you? It's a very, very spiritual word. So we can reach a very high state, all of us, We can reach a very great state. We can attain states of great ecstasy and joy that are there all the time, permanent light, permanent experience of God. That is your natural state. It is not natural that you be fixated on your little toe. It's the funniest thing I ever heard of. Of course it's natural that you have thoughts. It is not natural that you're married to them. It's natural that you have feelings. There are human feelings. It is not natural that they run your life, that they become your entire life. And this stupid little feeling pops out of your heart and it determines your whole life. That's the silliest thing I ever heard of. And it is not natural that what comes in through your senses becomes your whole life. So now we have to find true spirituality is about not being distracted by your thoughts, your emotions, or what is going on in the environment in front of you, which, by the way, is no different than what is going on in the environment that's not in front of you. It's what's going on. It's so simple, isn't it? So we don't need all these weird teachings. We don't need all this. It's just stop being distracted by your thoughts, your emotions, and what's coming in through your senses, and you will achieve a state that you can come back and tell me about it. Because nothing will be binding your consciousness to littleness, and it will naturally liberate itself and expand to greatness. All right? So how does one do this? Well, first what it takes is a commitment. Everything takes a commitment. You want to play golf? You can't just go and not play well and never play again. Right? You can't have a relationship the first time you fight. Oh, you're going to work and leave. You have to have a certain level of commitment. The more commitment you have, the more serious you are about it, the faster it will go. So you have to start with, yes, I am committed. And be careful, because I'm a serious person about the word commitment, all right? We'll discuss what that means in a minute. This is not, like a side job. This is not a side job. This is not something you do on Sunday. This is not something, in my spare time. No, I ain't going to do it. Because right now, you're completely addicted to your thoughts, your feelings, and your environment. So it's like a drug addict. If they want to stop doing those drugs, it's like, well, I'll spend an hour a day. No, you won't. You'll put yourself in rehab and it'll be 24/7 until you get off. And then you'll watch yourself like a hawk every single minute not to start drinking again. For how long? Well, go ask AA how long, because they'll say the rest of your life. How's that? So there's a real commitment there, isn't there, to get off that stuff. That's nothing compared to getting off of you. So you need a commitment. What does that mean? You have to reach a state. There's one of two things happen. Either you've had a really rough time. How rough? Really rough. Rough enough to where I can't handle it. Rough enough to I can't spend another minute with these thoughts. They're destroying me. I can't spend another minute with these emotions. I can't handle me. I can't handle what it's like in here. I can't find any peace. I can't find anything. Good. You're a good candidate to decide, you know what? I wish I had done this work earlier, because I sure could use it now to not be addicted to me, because this ain't so much fun. And so all of a sudden, that level of suffering wakes you up and says, this ain't a game. You better learn how to not be addicted to you, because it can get pretty bad in there, can it? You better learn how to not be addicted to your thoughts and emotions. That's one way it can happen. And that's a serious commitment. All right? Otherwise, you won't have a life. You'll just be listening, addicted to you. Just listen, you won't have a life. You'll be paying attention to your little toe because it hurts your entire life. What kind of life is that? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not picking on you, all right? But compared to what you're capable of, compared to how great you are, compared to what reality is, that's sad, right? To spend your whole life paying attention to your toe when you're in the middle of beauty, all right? Well, it's sad to spend your whole life hanging out with your thoughts and making sure that everybody behaves the way they need to so your thoughts don't disturb you too much, and making sure everybody does what you want them to do and doesn't do what you want them to do so your heart doesn't hurt you too much. In other words, do I really have to spend my entire life manipulating the tiny environment that's in front of me so that I can handle me? Yeah, unless you do something about it. It's exactly what you're going to do. And it's not fun. So you get a serious commitment that I am going to change this. And now you know what change means. I'm going to change my relationship with my thoughts, emotions, and what comes in through my senses. How am I going to change my relationship? I am not going to be addicted to them anymore. I'm not going to be distracted by them. That's one way it happens. There's another way it happens. A little more fun to talk about. But it's rare, but that's okay. For some reason, you have a deep spiritual experience. Whatever reason. It could be the sunset. It could be falling in love. It could be you're sitting alone and meditating. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Something happens. And you go, That's all it takes, I'm telling you. For one moment, for whatever reason, you stop being distracted by your toe. Enough. I'm telling you, listen to me, I'm not exaggerating. 1 second is all it takes. 1 second of vision, that all of a sudden you're not on the toe and you see what's there. Imagine that you're looking at the toe and now you see the mountaintops. And you go right back. You will never be the same again, ever, for the rest of your life. That's all it takes. 1 second. You're called a seer. One who saw beyond themselves. And the minute you see that, right, you will never rest again for the rest of your life. Because it's like having tasted something so beautiful that you realize all the rest is meaningless, right? I'm going back there, right? That's what happened to St. Francis. That's what happened to Paul on the camel. That's what I'm telling you. That moment, that's all it takes, that flash of light, right? So there can be a deep, and it doesn't have to be that deep, but some form of an experience that's beyond what you're used to. So when you have a beautiful experience, you want it. And so it awakens your commitment. If you're having a lot of trouble at some point, you hit bottom. They say that, you got to hit bottom. Some people say that, right? And you get some commitment. All right. The truth of the matter is, you don't have to go to the extremes. All you have to do is understand, you know what? I really am limiting my being to myself. The universe is a lot bigger than me. Why do I want to limit my experience of being to this picayune, tiny little complaining thing? Because that's what it is. It's always got something wrong, and it's always got a problem. I want to live. If I have but one life to live, no. It's just that easy. No. No, thank you. I'm not going to live it that way. It has nothing to do with what you mean by God. You will find God, but it will not be what you thought it was. But it will be more than anything you could ever imagine. But it doesn't start with God. It starts with letting go of yourself. It starts with, until you cease to be distracted by your toe, we can talk about the field that you never saw all you want. It's just, gee, I wonder what the field looks like. I hope the field's there. It's like you're still distracted by your toe. All right. So first it takes commitment, strong commitment. It's not hard to give a commitment. It's silly to live the life that we live. And plus, nobody's saying to give anything up. You don't have to leave your family. You don't have to do anything. You just leave yourself. You leave the party that's causing all the trouble. Now, how do you do that? How do I stop being distracted by my toe? Okay? One thing you could say is, my toe hurts, so it distracts me, so I'll devote myself to getting it so my toe doesn't hurt. You just got 100% distracted by your toe. You have now devoted your life to the distraction that your toe is causing. That's not good enough. It has to be, yeah, the toe hurts, but that's okay. It's okay. I would rather learn to be comfortable with the fact that the toe hurts so that it doesn't distract me and experience the greatness that I'm capable of than devote my life to trying to make the toe not hurt so I won't be distracted. That's the big step. That's what it means, commitment. So what does that mean when we talk about our thoughts and our emotions? It's easy. It's very easy. You're going to have thoughts that distract you. You need to learn to not be distracted by them. Somebody beeps the horn at you when you're parked in your car playing with your smartphone, and your thoughts start up. I don't care what they say. I don't feel like imitating them today. I'm feeling too good. It's not even fun to imitate them, all right? So they start up. They complain. They make noise, don't they? Why does it have to beep at me? And it just starts doing that. And they distract you. Maybe you were feeling well, whatever you were finding on your smartphone before the person beeped at you. Now you're not feeling well because the person beeped at you. Are you really willing to exchange the beauty of your state of being for this mishigas that's going to go on inside your head just because somebody beeped at you? And at some point you say, no, I'm not willing to. Good, I'm proud of you. How committed are you to not? Don't wait till it stops. Don't sit there and wait till I'll move to a place where they don't beep. There are cities that are against the law to beep. Move there. You don't have to be distracted. And that's ridiculous. You have to not move anywheres. You have to sit there and say, I am capable of letting this mind do what it wants, and I don't have to do it with it. You know, just have fun. Knock yourself out. Me, I'm going to keep doing what I was doing. That is your spiritual journey. If you need to meditate in order to do that, by all means meditate. If you need to do mantra so that the minute the mind starts making noise, you start saying God's name over and over, by all means. These techniques were given to you. I don't care what you need to do, but commit yourself to not continuing the habit of letting your mind decide the state of your being. Because you don't want to do that. That mind is not so friendly that you want it determining what your day is going to be like, do you? Have you noticed? It has a lot of problems, that mind of yours. And so I want to know, are you capable of just one day saying, you know what, I'm right. I am not going to listen to it. I am capable of not listening to it. I don't have to stop it from what it says. It can say whatever it wants. That's when you go to a great state. It can say whatever it wants. I don't care. Sometimes it says really weird things. So who cares? It's just a mind. It doesn't matter what it says. Don't feel bad about what your mind, you feel embarrassed or bad about what your mind says. That's silly. It's just a mind. It's got nothing to do with you. It's a talking head. So what I teach is the moment your mind starts talking, let's do it with the toe. I got a nice analogy. The moment the toe starts throbbing, relax. There's nothing you're going to do. It's throbbing, it's going to distract you to go down there. You don't have to go down there. Just relax. It's throbbing, I'm relaxing. It's throbbing, I'm relaxing. Relax your shoulders, relax your butt, relax your tummy, relax inside. You'll find that the throbbing tends to draw your attention. It tends to pull it. You know that? You can feel it pulling your attention there. Relax. Instead of letting it pull your attention, lean away from the force that's pulling your attention. So you're not like paying attention to the throbbing. People get very confused with this. Should I make believe it's not there? No. Should I pay attention to it and give it its time of day? No. You should do nothing about it. Let it be itself. It is doing what it's doing. It's going to be throbbing whether you pay attention to it, or it's going to be throbbing whether you don't pay attention to it. It's what it's doing. It's throbbing. I'm not talking about you need a doctor. I'm just talking about it's throbbing. All right? So if you don't pay attention, I'm not paying attention to it. I don't want to do throbbing. There's no throbbing. Affirmation. I don't know what you're doing, right? You're basically pushing it away. Or people get really caught in this. I'm supposed to pay attention to it, be with it. No, you're not. If you pay attention to it, it has distracted you fully. You are the one who's being distracted by it. I want you to relax. I don't care about it. Don't have nothing to do with it. You just relax. And what you'll see is that's not so easy, that it pulls your attention toward it. You're used to letting it pull your attention toward it. That's your spiritual work. Your spiritual work is while your attention is tending to be pulled there, you relax. You're going to find out that if you relax, you don't go anywhere. You stay right where you were when you relax. Throbbing don't go anywhere either. You can't use this as a way to stop the throbbing, because then you're still doing it for the throbbing. You just have to do it. I don't know what to tell you. Just relax and don't be distracted. If I use that word, just relax and don't be distracted by the throbbing. At first you'll have trouble with that, but over time, and it doesn't take long, you will do very well with it. So somebody beeps at you, the mind starts talking, relax. What do you mean? Relax. Relax. And you'll find out the thoughts can't hurt you. They just come and go by. You don't have to have anything to do with them. Just relax. And pretty soon it becomes fun. You can stick your tongue out at them. You can't get me because I'm just relaxing, right? And then when you feel it pull, I like if you feel it pull you. It pulls you toward it, like water ski. Lean away from it. Just lean away. When you play with that force, you're playing with Shakti. That is chi. That's Shakti. All right? That's very spiritual energy that you feel it pulling you. All right? You just learn to relax and release. Relax and release. And the energy will stay with you. It's an amazing experience. It's called the transmutation of energy. It is one of the highest yogic techniques, but very few people know how to do it. They think you're supposed to force energy. No, you just relax. You know why it works? Because consciousness and energy are the same thing. In yoga, they're called Chit Shakti, conscious energy. It's like sunlight is hot and bright. They're not separate elements. They're qualities of the same force. Consciousness and power, Shakti, energy, are qualities of the same force, the force of consciousness. You will come to know this yourself. It's not something you learn. How do you know this?
When you relax, there's your consciousness, and you just rest into your relaxation, all the Shakti stays with you. Eventually it builds up tremendously. What Shakti? The same energy that you used to devote to your emotions and your crazy mind. And oh my God, they got so strong. It seems like your mind has a mind of its own. It doesn't. There's only one power in there, yours. Wherever you put your consciousness, that's where your Shakti goes. That's where the energy goes. So if you devote your consciousness to your toe, your whole life's about your toe. All your will, all your efforts, all your thoughts, everything will be about your toe. If you relax, all it takes is relaxation in the face of the pull of distraction. I'm going to say that again, because that's yoga. All it takes is relaxation in the face of the pull of distraction. And you know that pull of distraction is thoughts do it, emotions do it, body does it, the world does it. It's all pulling on your consciousness. It's distracting you. Relax. And you will feel the pull. And I like when you feel the pull. Don't get mad because you feel it pulling you. Feel it. Get comfortable with it. It's like Tai Chi inside. You know how they do it, purposely moving slowly certain ways? Just feel it. I want you to feel what it feels like to have that energy being pulled away from you. And just relax with it and move around a little bit in there. And then lean away from it. Always lean away from the pull. Don't fight with the pull. Just like I say, it's like water skiing. Just lean back. And you're going to find out that things fall away all by themselves. Why? Because the only reason they stayed is they were using your energy to stay. It was because you were paying. You could have a traumatic experience, a serious experience that would ruin their whole life. And it just comes and goes. Comes and goes. The minute it's gone, it's gone. Doesn't leave any marks on you. You don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to deal with it anymore. You don't have to work through your therapy. You have to do a single thing. Because if you are willing to let it go, it will go. If you're willing to relax in the face of the pull of these energies, even though they're very, very strong, fear, pain, hurt, loss, these are very strong energies, especially fear, right? They're very strong, and they pull your attention to them. Just relax. And you got to commit. Here's commitment. I talked about a cell phone with somebody beeped. Well, sometimes it gets a little bigger than that, in case you haven't noticed. Your commitment has to be, this is what I'm devoting my life to. I'm going to learn to do this. No matter what situation is going on in front of me, the first thing I'm going to do is relax. No matter what's pulling, I don't care how scary it is. If a tiger comes jumping at me, I'm relaxing first, then I'm running as fast as I can. But I am going to relax first. I want this so ingrained. When I was first doing this back in the 70s, and I was really, really working on this, I remember I had a dream. I was living alone. I don't know why this would happen, right? I would never go anywhere. It was solitude out here. I had a dream that I was in a car sitting shotgun, passenger seat, and somebody was driving, and all of a sudden I looked to my right, and a Mack truck, I mean a big Mack truck, 80 miles an hour, was headed right toward me, just 20 feet away. By the time I looked over there, that giant grill was coming up there, right? And guess what I did? In the dream, relaxed. Right? You understand that? It was like, it needs to become so ingrained that even in your subconscious, that's what you do. You let go. To the extent that you keep your consciousness not being drawn out, but relaxed in, over time, you don't have to try. There's no trying here. The only will you will ever exercise again for the rest of your life is relaxation, is letting go. Relax and release. Then what will happen is, because the consciousness doesn't get pulled out, you don't realize it at the time, the chi, the Shakti doesn't get pulled out. And all of a sudden it builds up inside and you start feeling this joy. That's where the light comes from. That's where the river of ecstasy comes from the building up of this tremendous power that you used to give to your crazy thoughts, 8 billion of them, to your crazy emotions, God knows what, right? And to all this junk that's going on. You scattered yourself all over the place. If the sun does not emanate its rays, it stays in that billion-degree ball of fire. That's the source of the whole thing. If it emanates the rays, they scatter all over the place. And yeah, they make a garden grow a little bit. That ain't the same as what's going on back there. That's some pretty heavy stuff, that plasma burning stuff, right? That's what you get in there, is you become the sun. That's where all spirituality comes from. That's what all God realization is. It's you not leaving you. Because you didn't leave you. That's all it is. You didn't leave the seat of self. Why? Because the reason I left is I got distracted by the thoughts. I got distracted by the emotions. I got distracted by the world around me. How do I not? By being ready, willing, and able to relax in the face of those distractions. And that becomes your entire spiritual journey. Of course you will need to do some practices. You need to practice. You want to play tennis well, you practice. You want to play golf well, you practice. You want to do math well, you practice. You want to learn to let go of your thoughts and emotions and not be distracted by them, you need to practice. It's hard enough to do it when you're alone. It's sure hard to do it when your wife's dancing with somebody that you don't feel comfortable with. Just relax. Right? It's like on the battlefront, it's harder. So you practice. I swear, I don't want you meditating to find God. I want you meditating as an active practice of how to let go of yourself. Then God will find you. You understand that? It doesn't need you out there doing all this stuff. If you stop being so involved in you, you're eligible for another relationship. Guess who it will be with? Don't worry. Right? It will be with something so far beyond you that it's incomprehensible. But while you are addicted to your relationship with yourself, you learn to do these practices to learn to let go of yourself. That's all about. Not there's anything wrong with yourself. There's nothing wrong with your toe. But if you get distracted by it to where your whole life is about your toe, it's not that the toe is wrong. You did this something stupid. Your computer's a wonderful thing. Unless you get lost in it, that's your fault. That's not the computer's fault. So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your mind. There's nothing wrong with your heart. There's nothing wrong with your humanness. There's nothing wrong with the world around you. But what's wrong is how you deal with it. You limited the expansiveness of your greatness, your consciousness, which happens to be all-pervasive and universal. Do you hear me? You're a great being. You are great. You are everywhere. Your consciousness is enormous. You are beautiful. You were truly created in the image of God. Your consciousness, just as the rays of light that hit the earth are no different than the sun, are they? They are the sun emanating itself, all right? Your consciousness is no different than the source of consciousness. But while you focus your consciousness on the limitations of your own self and your own thoughts, what are you? That's another one of those poor begging people that run around trying to make the world be the way they need it to be because they can't handle their thoughts and emotions, right? I don't want you living like that. I want you to live a great life. I want you to just every moment of every day see how much you can relax behind the humanness. I like people sit there and say, but I'm only human. No, you're not. There is a human in there, in case you haven't noticed. You're not it. You're paying attention to it. Don't pay so much attention. Okay, you pay a little bit too much attention to that part, right? So how do you not? By relaxing. What happens if something happens and I have trouble relaxing? Listen, I've never talked to you this deep, this level, right? Well, what do I do if I try to relax and then I find that I didn't and I got all involved and I created a mess and then I come back? What do I do when I come back? Relax. But what do I do about the mess? Relax. The moment you regain your consciousness from having gotten involved in the noise, don't do a thing about it. Don't judge. Don't get upset. Don't be mad at yourself. Don't do anything. Just the second you regain that center, start relaxing again. Before you had to let go of the thing that was bothering you, now you have to let go of the fact that you didn't let go of the thing that bothered you. The highest thing you can do is the best that you can do to relax behind this noise that's distracting you. You can only do as well as you can do. If I send you out to practice tennis and you're not good with your backhand, don't get upset because your practice didn't go well. Nobody thought it was going to go well. You're practicing. The fact that you went out there to practice is all that matters. If you practice, you will get better. There's nobody ever that practices something and didn't get better. That's what it means to practice. So if you commit yourself that this is what I'm going to do with my life, I'm going to learn to not be distracted by my own thoughts, my own emotions, and what's going on in front of me. It's not going to happen all at once. You're not going to become, the Masters tournament player because you practiced golf once, all right? But you just, what's beauty, then you'll wake up and you realize, well, where's the practice field? The world is your practice field. Every moment of your life, every second of your day, every relationship you have, every single thought, every single emotion is your practice field. You get to take it with you. You don't have to, it doesn't cost $1, right? You have to put anything in the coin machine, right? Every single second, there she is, right or wrong. So you just have to decide, am I going to use this second to let go? And I'm telling you, I know you don't believe it, you can commit yourself that I'm going to use every second to let go. There's never going to be a single moment that I am not using as practice in letting go. But what if a situation happens that I never dealt with before? It's like somebody hits you a backhand from an angle you never tried before. It's exciting. It's perfect. But what if I don't do well? Of course you don't do well. That's why you're practicing. And so you just keep doing this, and it's relentless, and you never stop. So now the question becomes, but wait a minute, if I relax and I don't get pulled into the thoughts and the emotions and the different things which used to run my life, let's get something straight, all right? If something distracted me, that's what I became, the distracted thing. If somebody walked by and I was attracted to them, I became distracted, but my heart did. Next thing I know, I'm trying to figure out how to get them to pay attention to me and different things. Somebody walked by and I didn't like them and they scared me. Next thing I know, I'm trying to figure out how to avoid them and never see them again. In other words, my distractions are running my life. Totally committed. They determine every single thing that's going to happen for the rest of my life. So if I don't do that, you then ask me the very logical question, which is, well, what will happen to my life? I mean, I understand. I'm here and I'm relaxing. And so the thoughts aren't running my life and the emotions aren't running my life. But then what's running my life? My life will fall apart. And I know you honestly believe that. It makes me laugh so hard. You honestly believe that you're in charge of what's happening in front of you. You honestly believe that because you're bothered by this and you made noise about it, that determined. I like to lately talk to you about quantum physics. Not that I'm a quantum physicist because I'm no more than you are, but you can still get the basics. You really believe that because this emotion bothered you and you wanted to do something about it, that you determine how the quarks and leptons will come out of those quantum fields for the next 10 minutes or 3 years. You're the determiner of the course of creation. Because that's what's going to happen, right? Is these subatomic particles are going to pop out of this field. And for you to be in charge, you have to make them pop out a certain way. Isn't that what happens? Isn't that where it all comes from? The atoms and electron, neutron, protons, and all the subatomic stuff? Well, you ask any physicist, what determines what the next 5 minutes is going to look like? He'll say, well, that field down there is going to pop out subatomic particles and it'll make the universe, right? So you think if something bothered you, you'll determine what happened 5 minutes from now? I don't think so. You think if something bothered you that's right in front of you, that is completely independent of all the forces that are causing the universe to happen, that all of a sudden because it bothered you, you're going to make sure that this happens, that happens. The world will be what it is. Any moment that you are looking at something in front of you, I'm asking you, did it not take 13.8 billion years of forces to interact exactly the way they did, every single force to make that thing be right there? 13.8 billion years of forces. If your grandma didn't meet your grandpa, it ain't that way and you ain't here. If every single thing did not happen the way it did, nothing would be the same. Okay, then that's what's in front of you. Every single second. It took 13.8 billion years to be there. Wow. And what you want to do is say, no, but my heart hurt. You don't dare be like that. Really? I don't think it's listening. I don't think the weather cares that you don't want it to rain. And so you think the world's going to fall apart because you stop making believe that you're in charge? That was the experiment of my life, is what would happen if I let go? And I share with you what happened when I let go. Because somehow the world kept happening. Way beyond anything I could have ever done or dreamt of or anything. Just day by day, minute by minute, second by second, it just unfolded. Just like the sun comes up, just like your heart keeps beating, just like your cells divide, just like your liver secretes. You're not doing any of those things, are you? Guess what? You're not doing any of these either. The world is unfolding. You're making a mess of it by listening to your thoughts and emotions, and you learn to participate in it instead. How do you live this life? You surrender. You let go of the part of you that is in absolute ignorance, that thinks that you matter, and you are the center of the universe. No, you don't. And no, it isn't. And that thinks that things are supposed to be the way you want. I like telling you this lately. I've gotten very brazen about this. How many people sit there and tell people, nothing is supposed to be the way you want? Stop it. What's the matter with you? Things are not supposed to be the way they want. You want. Why would they be the way you want? You just made it up, didn't you? They're supposed to be the way they are. They're the result of 13.8 billion years of evolution and creation. You just made up a thought yesterday because you saw a movie or you saw somebody walk by or you decided you didn't like something. There's no way it's supposed to be the way you want. It's supposed to be the way it is. And then you get to be conscious and relaxed so you're not committed to you. Because you're not committed to you, you can be committed to it. To what? To reality, to what's unfolding. You can be there present and see if you can help, right? You can serve instead of trying to make it be what you want it to be. So you just decide, I can and I will live the life like this. I will relax the minute anything tends to distract me. How do you not get distracted? You don't let your consciousness go there. Pay attention. There, pay attention. What do? Huh? That's exactly what I'm asking you to do. That, whatever you do when you pay attention, all right? Pay attention to the fact that you started to get distracted by your thoughts and emotions and by what's going on in front of you. Just do that. Just wake up. Pay attention. All right? And that's called getting centered. Oh, just a little act. Oh, yes. You pay attention. Then what? Then the world unfolds in front of you. No, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. And if you think it's bad, I beg you, your scientists tell you that in the beginning, after the Big Bang, there was nothing but this thick, deep clouds of hydrogen gas. There's nothing has happened since, except that the laws put it together by themselves, and it created everything you see. Sometimes I think we need to give God a grade. How did it do putting itself together from thick clouds of hydrogen gas to him and you and this building and everything that there is? I give it an A++. I think it did very well by itself for a solid 13.8 billion years. But it can't handle what's going on in front of you, eh? And that's pretty fishy. And you're going to find out that it can, and that you can relax. You can relax. And once you relax, and you don't have to deal with you, with that stupid noise you built in there, you can participate. You're being asked to participate. It's like God's reaching his hand out saying, may I have this dance with you? That's what reality is asking you. And you get to say, by all means, I have nothing to do. Because you're free. That's what liberated means. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do. There's no emotions I'm committed to. There's no thoughts I have to listen to. I'm just there for you. I'm there to dance with you. And all of a sudden you're serving every moment that flows in front of you. And I told you, the greatest social activism is what I've been teaching you. All that's being asked is that every moment that passes before you is better off because it did. Just every moment that's unfolding in front of you, are you willing to raise it a little bit? Is it better off? Every person, every situation, is it better off because it crossed your path in that moment? And what you're going to find out, which will blow your mind, is you do that, and the next thing you know is you're helping. And to the extent that you do it more and more comes in front of you because you're more capable of more. It's an amazing process that as you work with yourself inside, you will be shocked by what happens outside. So this is yoga. This is life. This is spirituality. And notice I could have done the whole thing without using the G word. But when it's said and done, you'll use the G word because you're just going to go, oh my God, OMG, what happened when I let go of myself? That's why Meher Baba said man minus mind equals God. Man minus mind equals God. To a normal Westerner, they say, what does that mean? Well, now you understand. If you're not hanging out with your mind, guess who you're hanging out with? All right. Work on these things. Jagrata.